Ashley Schnitkker. I'm the Instructional Support Coordinator for District 87. I primarily work out of the Special Education Department.
How do you typically use technology to promote teaching and learning in the classroom, which is going to be kind of unique for you, right?
Yes, because I don't directly support teaching and learning in the classroom. I support teachers with technology in the classroom, providing supports and services for students. My passion is assistive technology and providing, making sure that they have tools to have access to the curriculum. So, for example, just a few minutes ago, I was working on a student's iPad, making sure it had text-to-speech software programs loaded on, working on tip sheets to help the teacher access the programs, and then doing training, follow-up training with both the staff and the students. Assistive technology is technology used for students to access the general education curriculum.
Okay, so what type of technology is available in most of your schools? And how well do you think they're being used?
There are some programs that are widely used in our district. We have a dashboard that gives us lots of information for student data, so those kinds of things are used quite heavily among, I would say, across the district. We have also some unique support tools that are used by a few, and then we have some that are based upon grade level. So it really depends on the teacher, the content area that they're teaching, and their comfort level with technology.
If your school received $20,000 in technology integration and you were put in charge of spending it, how would you spend all $20K?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, it would have to be a very thoughtful expenditure, because whatever you purchase has to be sustainable. And we've learned that lesson over and over again, where we purchase products and then after the shelf life runs out and the product becomes old, and then we have to replace it, and that money is no longer there. One of the things that I really enjoy, technology that allows kids to do discovery in the classroom and to create unique projects. So I would always look for that, but that's not going to have a widespread appeal.
Describe one of your favorite classroom projects that you've been involved with and how it used technology, or that used technology.
The one thing that was kind of my specialty when I was in the classroom was I worked with a lot of our software programs for intervention. And my big takeaway for intervention kinds of softwares and tools is that it could be a great tool, but if it's implemented poorly, then you're going to get poor results. And so one of the big successes I had was my implementation of a reading software program that students showed significant growth in. But it wasn't just the program; it was the attention to the detail and to the data, and intervening with students when the data was showing that they were struggling. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Nice. Let's see. Most common technical issue you encounter in the classroom or hear of encountering?
Probably the biggest issue is no login servers available, or the spinning, the spin of death, where you can't, you're kind of dead in the water and you're trying to do a rollout of some kind of a tool. The one I'm thinking about is Park Assessment. And we did some practice, and thank goodness, because when we did professional development, we had a number of teachers not able to log in, and that's frustrating when you're trying to problem solve, a large number of people that are having difficulty. So if you transition that or transfer that to the classroom, I can see where teachers would become very frustrated with technology and decide it's just not worth the time and effort spent.
Let's see. How do you stay current with all the tech and trends, and how do you stay connected to faculty outside of 87?
Mike Jones, and Mike Jones. But just making sure that you stay connected with people who are out there using the products on a daily basis, and you build a team around you and what you do, and that helps keep you informed, attending as many professional development opportunities that you can, attending some conferences, and then using social media is a great way. I do a lot with Pinterest. As silly as that might sound, I find a lot of information and trends on Pinterest. Also Twitter.
Let's see. Do you do any fund seeking or grant writing in your new role?
Not in my new role. In my former role, I did, when I was a classroom teacher, I did I did some grant writing, but I received a significant grant for smart boards at one time. So, but it's not something I would consider myself an expert at.
Any advice to give newbies?
For grant writing? Yeah, GoFundMe. There are a lot of opportunities out there. You just have to kind of dig for them, and teachers pay teachers and things like that. So
my advice is don't do it. That's more competition against me. Let's see. Do you see social networking being a problem in schools, like Facebook in class or cyberbullying or issues like that?
I think they are. They can be problematic, but I think it's the same. I think those things are ripe to be there, whether you're using technology or not. And you have to just find. You have to have a well-ran classroom with really clear expectations for students, and you have to monitor. So.
And let's see. What risks should teachers keep in mind when using technology?
The biggest risk is student data, making sure that you're very careful about putting information up that you don't have control over, and especially if it's confidential information. Also watch email.
So when you say student data, I know me and you had these conversations.
Right.
What do you would you recommend or say to new people, like what is student data for them?
For instance, student information, I consider student data. So if I have progress goals for my IEP students and I put those on a Google document, for instance, that would be a big concern that Google has access to all of that information, and they can share it with whoever they want to. So making sure that I'm very protective of that. Behavioral data, so information about kids who, the number of times that they get sent to the office. That kind of data is what I'm most concerned about, but also academic data as well, because we want to make sure that stays, that's private for the families and the students, and we shouldn't be putting that out.
Any other advice for them?
Good luck. It's fun. The most exciting thing about technology is there's always something new to learn. It's hard to keep on top of, and you can't be an expert at everything. With technology, I found that I am consider myself pretty technology savvy, but there are so many things that I know nothing about. So you rely on those people that do know that. So,
did you ever read "The World Is Flat" or "The Earth Is Flat"?
Is that the? No, I haven't read that.
There's a great line. It's like, be good at one thing, but be learning three things.
Yeah.
I'm like, can't take it all. Just
you can't do it all with technology. You, even as good as you might be, you don't know. You're never going to be able to know all elements of it. So.